Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's me, KP. I'm here in my studio, The Moon and the Maker, and I'm here for Stamp Down to Christmas. Yay! So exciting, right? So I'm just going to sort of dawdle around here for a minute or two and give everyone a chance to find the live stream and hopefully join me for day number 4 of Stamping Down to Christmas. So we're going to make it hopefully kind of a quick little, a quick little demo today. Just not only because I don't want to keep you, hanging around all day, but also because I have my whole studio torn apart again. Yes, again. And actually not just my studio, but in the production area too. I know a lot of people have asked us to do like a little video and show how we make stamps, and we really want to do that, but we're trying. I mean, of course, this is pretty much our busiest time of year, and so everything's been a disaster. I'm constantly changing my studio around, trying to make it more efficient and trying to find homes for all of my, collections and supplies. And so I have the whole studio torn apart again. But it's one thing I love to do is try to, I don't know, rearrange to make my area a little more feng shui. But so far it's still just pretty cluttered, and I haven't gotten there yet. But anyway, all right. Good morning, Cheryl. Nice to see you. It looks like it's just me and you so far. So, we are gonna work with Elizabeth St. Hilaire's flower stamps again, and I say again, it's just because I love them so much and I use them quite a bit. And so today, instead of coloring in, I thought we'd color out. So what I have here is another cradled panel, and of course, you could definitely do this on a card. I just already had this done up. So I thought, and it's good and dry, and it's something I probably won't really use. So I thought I would experiment on this. All right. And so, like I said, we're not going to color in as much as color. We might do some coloring in, but we're going to color out. So I am going to, first of all, decide on what color I want to stamp. Do I want to stamp in black outline? Or maybe it would be fun to stamp in like hot pink and color that. And that's what I'm going to try. And if I don't like it, guess what? I'll start over. Or I'll wipe it off. You know the deal. Juliet, good morning. Yes, I'm working with Elizabeth St. Hilaire stamps right now. And I hope you guys aren't sick of these stamps. I love her flowers. Well, I love all of her stamps, but this flower, I wanted something sort of big and easy to color in, and it's one of my favorites. So I'm going to do it again. Hopefully it'll be something a little different. My cling is not working very well anymore after being so handled so many times. So I had to use a little tape runner on it. And right now I'm using, and the stamp is probably kind of dirty. I may want to try to clean it off a little bit first. Yeah, it's picking up a lot of transferred color. So let me try to at least clean it. I'm going to use a little bit of rubbing alcohol to get off some of that stubborn black ink. And the problem is that even though the ink on here is permanent, alcohol will remove it, but also it seems like it wouldn't transfer, but it does, because a lot of the other inks might have like alcohol or something, some other sort of chemical in them that reactivates even the dry permanent ink. So I would just want to get some of that off and make my color a little truer. And then of course, for this, now that it's all dirty, I'm just going to wipe some of that away. And if I had my re-inker handy, of course I could go ahead and re-ink that, but I think I'm okay. So And I'm sorry, most of my stamps, I don't know if they make you cringe, like, oh God, they're so dirty. But remember, so many people are using mine too. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not the best about keeping them clean. I'm just not. I try. Anyway, so this is my Moon Glow Extra Bright Pink Crush Dye Ink Cube. And again, I just have this random sort of abstract that I had started on this piece a while ago. And of course, you know, the Elizabeth St. Hilaire collection has multiple different blossoms and blooms. I'm just going to stick with the same one here. All right, and then I'm going to switch over to this little leaf, her little leaf stamp. And I'm going to stamp that one with, I think, with the Moon Glow Blue, the Blue Moon. And it's not much of it's going to really show up. And remember, I could always overstamp it if I need to. The nice thing about it too is that it's pale enough to where if I don't like it, I can just easily paint right over it. So remember I said we are going to use some paints. I think I'm actually going to use colored pencil over the top of this, but I'm first going to get a little bit of white gesso and just color out. Okay, so I'm going to color out all my negative space. And I want to stop for a second and say good morning to Phyllis and Patty. It's so nice to see you. I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving. I've missed you a lot. And Nancy, oh gosh, I wish you could stay longer. And yeah, Jan, I get you. So yes, for those of you who are interested in what's going on at RubberMoon, we are putting, you know, each year we discontinue some stamps, and I think our discontinued list is up now. So if you would like to just check it out, go to rubbermoon.com. Not right now because we're busy getting makey, but go to rubbermoon.com and check it out and get them before they're gone, because you know we do this every year with some of the stamps maybe that haven't quite sold as well, or just really it's nothing bad. It's just time to make room for new, right? Anyway, so you can see what I'm doing. I'm painting out all the negative space. And what that's going to, and of course you could use a dark color if you wanted to. I might go back in with the dark color. I don't know yet. I just right now I'm sort of blocking it out so that visually I can kind of get a better handle on what I'm doing, and just kind of, I don't necessarily want a lot of those other layers showing through. So I'm getting rid of them. This is a really fun way to create, especially if you have a lot of papers or boards, you know, like cradle boards or canvases or whatever, you know, laying around that you've experimented on, but you just don't love them and you don't know what to do with them. Like this has been kind of laying around my studio for a while, and I really like the colors and, you know, it wasn't something I was going to throw away, but I knew that it was unfinished. So when I saw it, I was like, oh, this will be great for one of the days of our stamp down, because a lot of the work's already done. All right, so already you can see it take shape so quickly. And I'm looking again in the monitor. Yes, for this around here. All right, and like I said, that white just sort of helps me to visually see it a little bit better. And of course, some nice acrylic paint would also be great right over the top. But I do want to show, and I still probably will put a little bit of paint, but I do want to also show you that colored pencils will work over the top of this. And I'm just seeing a question. Phyllis says, when you have a moment, the stamp on the left-hand side, I'm not sure what you mean right now. The only stamps I'm seeing right now are these. I don't see any other stamps that you might be talking about, Phyllis. The beautiful blue moon face. So, okay, so do you mean this? Oh, no, I see what you're talking about. You're talking about the stamp on here, these dots. Yes, it is, Phyllis. It is called Dot Maker, and it is from, so you're talking about this dots, right? If that's what you're talking about, that is the moon, or I'm sorry, the Dot Maker. I can't show it to you this way because it's all messed up, but maybe I'll have them make me a new one today. Okay, so here, I'll stamp it for you just so you can see. Sorry. I'm sort of embarrassed, but at the same time, like, it's really just the way it is around here. I think I told you the other day, this is one of my favorite stamps, so it's often on my table, and it was upside down in some glue or something, and when I peeled it up, that's what happened. But this is it. Anyway, all right, so that is called Dot Maker, and it is in the Stampstrax #1 set. Okay, so I love it. It is one of my favorites, along with Burst. I don't know if you're familiar with the Burst stamp. Can you see that? It's very similar, except for it's dots in a circle, and I use both of these all the time. I love them. All right, so like I said, we painted out. Now, I could actually, if I went ahead and used a dark color, which I think might be fun, to go back over, not only would some of those layers cover better, but I do want to kind of just show you a little bit how I can use a little bit of colored pencil also. So some of these, I love some of this texture that's showing up, but I don't necessarily want all of it, okay? Because I just want like nuances of it or little hints of it. I don't want it to be so strong. So I'm taking sort of a dry brush. Again, I don't want a lot of moisture on my brush, little gesso, and sort of just pulling some of that back out, okay? Just sort of softening it. I'm not trying to get rid of it altogether. I want it a little more gradient or just a little softer. And some of that too. I mean, I like this, but I mean, I like some of those textures and lines in here, but I don't want all of them, and I don't want some of them that are quite so harsh. If you can kind of see what was going on back here, is this was an abstract that I had done a lot of stamping on too. So just, again, pulling some of it back a little bit. Not all of it. And then I want some of those layers still to peek through. And the nice thing is that, you know, if I go back in and use, say, some of the golden fluid acrylics right over the top, they'll be very translucent and transparent, and still those layers will kind of show through. I'll show you what I mean. For example, and I am, again, going to use a little bit of colored pencil, but if I use a little bit of this green gold, again, a beautiful transparent color. And I can just even just hit a little bit of this. Can you see that? Everything will still show through, but it just gives it a little bit of a pop. So I'm going to go ahead and do that in the leaves that I stamped. See, everything still shows through, but it sort of just perks it up, gives it. And I don't like the color that made, so I'm going to wipe that away and I'll paint or color that a different color. But I do feel like it's time for me to go ahead and go ahead and go in with maybe a different color. And you all know how much I love my cobalt teal, or I don't even think it's called cobalt teal anymore. It's just regular teal. And it's definitely more opaque. So honestly, I'm going to change brushes just because I'm here struggling with that brush. And I'm not sure if this will be my favorite either. I do really like these brushes, but they're a little bit softer than what I usually like to use with acrylic. But of course, size-wise, I think it's pretty good. But no, it's not thrilling me either. I'm not going to lie. I need something a little stiffer. Try this one. So one thing I like to do, and I'm just going to show you this little trick, sort of like the same with the thirsty brush whenever you're watercoloring. My paint was really wet right there, but I had kind of gone over the lines. Remember, everything was dry underneath, so I clean my brush really well, get all the paint out of it, and then I can kind of use it to pull the paint back up and sort of, not really erase, but, remanipulate that line. And if I do use it just a little bit more watered down, I can get a little bit more transparency out of this color if I want to. And keep in mind, if I had stamped in a darker color, like a black or dark blue, it would give a completely different look. So depending on what you're doing, I probably could have made these look more holiday-ish even, if I would have stamped in reds and magenta or something like that and used a lot more darker green. I could have maybe made these look more like poinsettias. But I wasn't really after the poinsettia look, but I just wanted you to keep that in mind. Coloring and your choices of your outlines and stuff, of course, make a huge difference. All right, so it's really coming together, as you can see. I mean, I'll just keep, adding a little bit of value here and there, maybe some darker shades of teal in between the petals and things like that, or you know, as I'm moving through the piece, if I see areas that, you know, need touching up, then of course that's what I'll do. And I am, I'm looking at it in the monitor, and I am thinking that some of this would be benefit from some over stamping. So I'm actually going to take my Aurora teal color. And you'd want to make sure it's pretty dry. I think it's going to be dry enough to over stamp. And the one thing about these stamps is that they are so, the way that they're drawn is so loose and so lovely. That's one of the things I love about it, is that if you don't get it directly over stamped, it's completely okay. At least in my book, you know. So now, as long as everything is good and dry, you should ostensibly be able to take your colored pencils and go right in here, right on top. Not only will it give it some nice texture, but it gives a completely different look if you wanted to, you know, mix your acrylic paints and your pencils. They're a little bit different. And don't be afraid to blend and mix your colors just the way you would if you were working on paper. The nice thing is, too, if you wanted to even use some like your clear blender pen, you could still do that. Of course, keep in mind your paint underneath would have to be very, very, very dry, like overnight dry, because you don't want to mess up your marker pen, or, you know, your nibs on the substrate like this. So just be aware of that. It's so funny because yesterday I had mulberry and magenta, and I know for sure because I was comparing the two, but now I can't find my magenta. Oh, there it is. It's like, now I can't find my magenta pencil. And yes, I am smushing it out with a baby wipe. You can kind of erase a little bit, or still, it's amazing how you can smush your pencil with that baby wipe. All right. And now I have to let it dry because I wiped too much of it away, and now the pencil won't really build up right there on that wet spot. Anyway, it's nice. It's kind of nice to do this. Say you're working on something, and especially like as you know, I already had this board done, right? So maybe I didn't want to pull out all my paints and start painting again. So that made it kind of nice to just work with my pencils and little dry media. And then finally, I think I might even go in with another pencil and sort of not really outline, but you know how I like to give like little almost drop shadows just for a little more depth and definition. So I can go in the in-betweens here. Again, it's quicker and a little less messy than working with paints, I guess. It's also nice because you get some of that texture from the dry paint. I'm seeing some of that texture kind of poke through. So just have fun with it. If you want to smush anything out, again, just wrap a little bit of baby wipe around your finger and you can, it's sort of amazing me. I didn't really realize that the baby wipe would work. It's almost working like a blender. Making some nice little gradients there. And then finally, the only thing I am really not liking is this down here. So I think I'm going to try to cover some of that with my pencil. Brighten it up a little. And then something else fun you could kind of do is you could go in again and maybe even do some other little textures, or I don't know, maybe just some fun lines or scratches, you know, with your white pencil or really with any color. If you don't like it, wipe it away. And then finally, I want to do something over here because I don't like the color of this leaf. So I think what is going to have to happen is I'm going to have to gesso it a little bit, let it dry, and then go ahead and maybe put a little of that green over the top or something. Don't know. All right. And so what do you think? We got a stamp down day 4 pretty quick. And, well, you know, I guess the only thing that would take a little bit more time is to paint your background panel or card and let it dry really well. And it could be really random. You know, I feel like you could easily just basically mush down a bunch of paint. Have fun just creating with your favorite colors, and then, you know, stamp over the top and paint out. I'm just going to put another little bit thicker of a coat on part of the leaf and then scratch some of that out. It's not mixed media unless we're mixing it up, right? All right. And I think, I mean, I'm looking in the monitor. The only thing I could see is I feel like this needs to be darkened up just a little bit. And maybe a little highlight. And, you know, I always love to add a few little white dots here and there. So, hey, you know, I have my dot maker here. Why not? We'll throw a couple of those on there and we'll call it done. I just spread out a white gesso right there, and I'm just going to stamp right into it. And we'll just put a few little ta-da! And there you have it. Stamping down to Christmas. And talk about coloring in. Wasn't that fun and easy and pretty fast, right? 30 minutes. So, yeah, I know it is very springy in summertime, but, you know, that's okay, right? When I'm cold, this is always what I'm dreaming of. And it would make a great gift. So even though it's Christmas, somebody might like this as a Christmas gift. So of course I would spray it. I would finish off my sides. And there's so many different ways you can finish off your sides. You can just paint them. I don't like to leave them. I feel like it's sort of cheating, and I feel like it's really unfinished when you don't do something to the sides. And even though this is a nice wood, you're still seeing this, panel that's put on here. So even if I wanted to leave the sides wood, I would still mask it off and paint that little lip. It makes such a difference. So I would definitely paint the sides, and then I would varnish it and call it done. So gosh, thank you all so much. You're spoiling me by being here and watching me paint and color. That feels like a pretty luxurious thing to me. And I want you to know that I really appreciate you. I hope you already know that. I love you to the moon and back. And I will see you here tomorrow morning at 11 for STAMPdown Day 5. I do want to let everybody know, if you're all still listening, that I will not be here Friday. I won't be here on the weekend, and I won't be here Friday. I'm going to be going out of town to visit Edie. Yay, I'm so excited. I get to meet Edie Evans finally in person. So I'm leaving on Friday morning, and I will not, I'll be traveling. So I'll be here tomorrow, but I just wanted to let you know that, and I'll mention it again tomorrow, assuming I remember. Anyway, thanks again. Great to see all of you. And I'll talk to you real soon. Hopefully tomorrow. Bye. Go get Makey. No, I'll see you tomorrow, Jan, right? Are you coming tomorrow? I hope so. And you can tell me safe travels tomorrow. See ya. Bye.